USC continues to add top 100 recruits to its class of 2024. The Rams look to its Super Bowl team to shore up running back. And the Dodgers comb through the minors for pitchers. Kind of like how I comb over that bald spot I'm trying to hide. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is June 21st, 2023. After recording this, I'm going to be heading out to the airport on the road for work. But we are going to stay optimistic right now because it's Galaxy Game Day. And we are always building something for LA here. If you like being in the know about LA sports, quickly clack the like button. Quickly clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. One day I'm going to comment on how many Galaxy kits I own, and then I'm going to be extremely embarrassed. But for now, let's keep going. We'll start off, before the news and notes, looking at the scoreboard. Dodgers 2, Angels nothing. Clayton Kershaw, absolutely macho, especially when the Dodgers let him go past 100 pitches in a 7th inning when he worked out of a bases-loaded jam. Very strong. Michael Busch, by the way, drove in the game-winning run. Minnesota 67, Sparks 61. The Sparks are 2 games under 500, which isn't good. 3 of their losses, though, came to the Minnesota Lynx. Go figure. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at the Angels at 7. It's the Freeway Series. Michael Grove is 0-2 with an 8.10 ERA. Shohei Ohtani comes out for Anaheim, 6-2 with a 3.29 ERA. And I'm wondering if the Dodger fans who make their way down to the Big A tonight are going to be chanting future Dodger at Ohtani. Sporting Kansas City is at the LA Galaxy at 7:30. The Galaxy are down to their 3rd striker. This is going to be a tough call. Recall, Chicharito is out long-term with an injury. Dejan Joveljic is not going to play tonight. He is on international duty. So it's not official, but we're probably going to be seeing Preston Judd at center attacker. Also, it is the first home game for the Galaxy since the end of the Klein Out boycott. How many people are going to be partying it up tonight at Dignity Health Sports Park? I'm curious. I think it's going to be a lot. Also tonight, Seattle's at LAFC. Now, this is a fun matchup, too. LAFC has just 1 more point than the Sounders in the Western Conference standings. In addition, while we talk about Dennis Bouanga a lot with his 10 MLS goals for the Black and Gold, Seattle's Jordan Morris has 9. So he's really strong as well. Just yesterday, we were talking about how USC is taking their high school recruits on a bleeping yacht. As if UCLA could keep up with that. And then, by the way, to Lincoln Riley's mansion. And it's working. High school kids, of course it's working. Another 4-star recruit joins the class of 2024, offensive lineman Jason Zandamela. He's the number 2 interior offensive lineman in the nation from Clearwater, Florida, the number 62 nationally ranked recruit. There is a recruiting website that just could not stop raving about him. Quote, shifts his weight well for someone listed at 285 pounds and doesn't have much issues going east to west. Also doesn't struggle to get to the second level and put his nose on a linebacker, which suggests that he could thrive in a pull-heavy offensive scheme. Now, when Lincoln Riley first came to USC, a little more than a year ago, one of the first things that we did was break down how his version of running in the red gun offense was better than Graham Harrell, the prior offensive coordinator. Lincoln Riley pulls guards to the other side after the snap to flood the point of attack with offensive linemen. So this kid is an ideal choice for the USC Trojans. Absolutely ideal. And by the way, I said red gun, I meant air raid, raid spray, raid your fridge, whatever. It's all the same. Big picture, the addition of this lineman, Zandamela, lifts USC into a top 10 recruiting class right now for 2024. They've added 8 recruits in 3 weeks. Now, it's not an ideal class. in the sense that Lincoln Riley has said he wants to add an elite quarterback every year, and so far, none for the class of 2024. You could also ask about the lack of defensive heft. They have added elite defensive backs, but not defensive heft up front. All I'm going to say in response to that is there's going to be a hole somewhere. All three levels of USC's defense had holes last year, and they're just trying to plug the dike. If you really want to nitpick, some would wonder if the long-time connection with modern-day high school, if that's starting to dry up, because it hasn't borne fruit for the class of 2024. The quarterback there, if you recall, USC has a lengthy tradition of picking up quarterbacks from modern day. Mark Sanchez, I apologize. The Heisman Trophy winner, whose name is Matt Leinart, modern day. The quarterback there has committed to Stanford, but recruiting, I would say, isn't over for months, so there's plenty of time for Lincoln Riley to get the recruits that he would like that just basically make him comfortable. The Rams are bringing back running back Sony Michel, who played for LA during their Super Bowl season, which frankly seems really long ago. Terms of the deal were not disclosed, but they acquired Michel after Cam Akers blew out his Achilles during training camp 2 years ago, right? Akers is healthy now. So bringing back Michel tells me a couple of things, or suggests them. One, the contract can't be long-term. It's probably like a year because Michel's not going to be the feature back. But two, are we really going to put a lot of stock in the praise that McKay has given both to Akers and to Kyren Williams? Because if they were as great as he said they were, why are you signing Sony Michel? Right? Now, Michel did play for the Chargers briefly last year after not making the team over in Miami after he signed with the Dolphins. I've spoken a lot about wide receiver Van Jefferson as if we know for a fact he's going to be the number 2 receiver. But what if I'm wrong? Right? Understand, I'm not saying the dude is getting cut. I'm not saying he's having a lousy training camp. But this is year 4 of his pro career. Year 4. He's had just one decent year. And that would be the run that took the Rams to the Super Bowl. He had 50 catches, 802 yards, 6 TDs that year, year 2. And everybody was predicting big things for him. And what happened next? You guessed it. He was hurt just like a lot of the Rams for much of last season. So now he's in that final year of his rookie deal. Is he a sure thing or is he in a prove it year? You could go either way. Now, I will grant you that Allen Robinson set an extremely low bar for number 2 receivers last year. Make it or break it, or sure thing. Training camp for the Rams, by the way, opens at UC Irvine on July 25th. Now, we've heard a lot about what Sean McVay has said about the rookies. What do the veterans think of the rookies? And by veterans, I mean people who have been in LA for longer than 5 minutes, the way this roster looks. Safety Jordan Fuller said the rookies, quote, asked all the right questions. They're real focused, unquote. Meanwhile, third-year linebacker Ernest Jones, who is in his 3rd year, he says he's been handed a lot more responsibility and he loves being held more accountable as a result. So the players, they're at least saying the right things as well. There has been more shuffling in the struggling Dodgers bullpen. A lot of shuffling. So much shuffling, you could even mumble rap it if you want it. Every day I'm shuffling. That's the way the Dodgers are building their bullpen. LA selected the contract yesterday of right-hander Ryan Brazier, who pitched for 5 seasons in Boston, fell apart this year with an ERA of 7.29. Dodgers signed him a couple of weeks ago. They sent him to Oklahoma City, where he only pitched twice. As a result, LA also optioned lefty Brian Hudson to Oklahoma City and designated Andre Jackson for assignment. Veteran outfielder David Dahl is also on his way to Oklahoma City. He was an all-star for the Colorado Rockies back in 2019. He's also played for Texas and Slum Diego. Orange County Register columnist Jim Alexander wrote yesterday that the Angels and Dodgers have switched places. Do you even consider buying that story? I mean, I know Jim Alexander. I know him when he wrote for the Riverside Press Enterprise. Now, I'm not saying I know enough about him or his writing to say he's an idiot, but this opinion is idiotic. It really is. What is it about the Angels that tells you that they have passed the Dodgers in any way? Is it the standings? LA is behind Arizona by fewer games than the Anaheim is to Texas. Is it stability and ownership in the front office? Artie Moreno tried and failed to sell the team. Is it in the Angels roster compared with the Dodgers? And if so, why is everyone who covers baseball convinced that Shohei Ohtani is going to be wearing Dodger blue next year? What is it that makes anybody want to claim, aside from clickbait, aside from stirring the pot where the pot need not be stirred, why would anybody consider the idea that the Angels are allegedly switching places with the Dodgers? Makes no sense. A Dodgers website asked fans what they would do to fix the team. Former Dodger Yasiel Puig sent the hand-raising emoji as if to volunteer to play. Dude, you've been out of the majors for almost 4 years now. I don't know. Considering your legal problems, it's more likely we're going to be seeing you in a federal penitentiary than in Dodger blue. So maybe you might want to stay over in Korea for a couple of more years. I don't know what the extradition treaty is for that, but you might want to consider that instead. Enough mock drafts and scouts say that Jaime Hernandez Jr. is a first rounder. So as a result, the NBA invited the former Bruins standout to hang out in the green room over in wherever the hell they're holding the draft, so that when Hernandez's name eventually gets called on Thursday, he can look down on Adam Silver's bald head while he shakes his hand. Now look, I don't want to talk too much mess about male pattern baldness, right? I too have this little fleshy abyss where hair used to be. But let's just be real. The NBA commissioner is a creepy looking dude. Can we just be honest about that? He doesn't even look human to me. Adam Silver looks like what would happen if you asked AI to create a human being from a 3D printer. He looks like somebody, he looks like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs peeled enough flesh off of dudes and just put it over a mannequin. I don't know how else other to describe it. Adam Silver is a creepy looking guy. Try not to laugh at him when you shake his hand, Jaime. Just saying. Get off to a good start in your career. If it matters, mock drafts have Jaquez, ESPN has Jaquez going to Memphis at number 25. CBS and The Athletic have him slotted for Golden State at number 19. The LA Times has reported that Jaquez and his Bruins teammate, Tiger Campbell, by the way, have both worked out for the Clippers. Speaking of the Clippers, there's a report that the Clippers are wondering if they can trade Paul George, and I do not buy that trade rumor for a second. Not 1 second. And if he does not get traded, which I would place money on him not being traded, we have to seriously consider if former ESPN scribe Mark Stein has a legit grip on his beat. Because he's looking like he's replacing Peter Vesey for the wild, unsubstantiated rumor columnist award, if there is such a thing. Peter Vesey used to go on NBC all the time when they had the NBA contract, was famous for saying, oh yeah, the Clippers, they're trying to get rid of all their players, or yeah, you know, the Spurs, they want to trade Tim Duncan for a draft pick, and it was never ever true. None of the crazy ass rumors he ever said were true. Clippers forward Marcus Morris called out LA Times reporter Andrew Grafe or Groovy. Anyway, the Times scribe reported that Morris was unhappy with his role toward the end of the season, how the Clips didn't communicate with him about it. Quote, "You don't last 13 years in the NBA without knowing your role," unquote. Marcus wrote that on his Instagram. Now, personally, I lean towards taking Morris's side because Grief or Gref or Groof or Groot, he opened his article in yesterday's edition in the LA Times with, quote, "The Clippers are on the clock." First of all, never open your story with the worst cliches ever, right? They're not on the clock. The San Antonio Spurs are on the clock. The Clippers are not on the clock for quite a while. Stop it. Never open with a cliche. It bothers the living hell out of me as a former scribe. So if you're going to open up with a cliche, that tells me you're not thinking. And if you're not thinking, the rest of your story is probably crap too. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Tell me what you think about USC's draft class. Tell me what you think about what's going to go on now with the Dodgers bullpen. Or for that matter, if the Rams' offensive skill set is settled. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, even later tonight with a Galaxy Rapid recap. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.